Okay, so we are today going to get started on our argument essays that you guys have been super excited to get working on. It is going to be an argument based off the novel The Hunger Games. And the question shouldn't be too surprising because it's basically the IQ that we've been working with all unit. So let's get started with our prompt, okay? Should the districts rebel against the capital? You're going to create an argument telling me whether or not it is justifiable, it is the right thing to do for the districts to rebel against the capital. Considering the information we have read and analyzed in this unit, you're going to write a 5-paragraph essay in which you argue if the district should rebel against the capital or not. You can argue the reverse, that they should not rebel against the capital. We've had enough evidence in this unit for you to argue either direction. Okay. You must also, in your essay, address the counterclaim in your argument. For some of you, that might sound like a little like, oh gosh, what's that word? I don't want you to worry about it. I'm going to make sure you know what you're doing when you do it. But essentially, the counterclaim is anytime you give an argument, you want to address what the opposite argument is. So if you're arguing that the districts should rebel, the counterclaim would be that they should not rebel. Now, you're not addressing it for the sake of just saying that's what that guy says, that they shouldn't rebel. You want to then prove them wrong. If your argument is that they should rebel, you're going to say, now some people are going to argue that they shouldn't rebel because of blah, blah, blah. But here's why they're wrong and why I'm right. Okay. So the whole point of the counterclaim is to prove it wrong because it makes you doubly right, which is just, nobody hates being right. To support your argument, you must use cited evidence from the Hunger Games. So those anything that comes from the Hunger Games must be a direct citation and a minimum of 2 additional sources. So I'm going to scroll down past the calendar for a second here just so that you can see this. Here are the sources you're allowed to use. For this unit, you can use the VELT. I thought this one might work okay for counterclaim. Like if you're saying rebellion, some may say rebellion is unjustifiable. You could say, yeah, I mean, some rebellions are unjustifiable. Like these kids rebelling against their parents was unjustifiable in comparison to what the districts are experiencing. So you could use the VELT. Obviously, the Hunger Games is a required source. Other sources that you can use include also anything from our rebellion investigation that we completed before Thanksgiving break. You can use any of the videos, any of the articles, all of that is up for grabs. The thing is, you have to cite your specific source. So what I mean by that is you can't just say, according to the rebellion slides or according to the Black Lives Matter slides. You have to tell me what article it came from or what video it came from. There has to be a title and a source that it came from. It doesn't have to be, especially if it's a video, it doesn't have to be a direct citation, but it does need to be from a cited source. You're also allowed to use the legacy of the Declaration of Independence investigation, and you also can use anything from that modern day Bill of Rights cases project that you guys did as well. Okay, so those are the additional sources you can use. Hunger Games is a requirement, and then the other ones you have to use a minimum of 2. Okay. Going back up to the calendar. So this is going to take us over the next couple of weeks. Today, we're looking at the prompt, the rubric we're going to look at in a second. And then we're also going to take a look at a rough draft of the outline. We've got that over here for you guys. And then hopefully today we can start your argument essay planner, but that is what is going to be due tomorrow. Your argument essay planner. On Wednesday, we're going to outline your intros. On Thursday, your body 1, Friday, body 2. On Monday, the following week, we're going to outline both your counterclaim and your conclusion paragraph. I know that sounds like a lot because you're doing 2 paragraphs there, but the conclusion paragraph is super easy. It's basically just copying and pasting from stuff you've already done. It's going to take you 3 minutes, okay? Tuesday, you're going to do draft 1. Wednesday, you're going to be editing. Thursday, you're doing draft 2. And then Friday, you're going to be revising draft 2. Now, also on Friday is your final draft. And that's because once you're done revising, you should basically at that point just be copying and pasting your essay into a final copy document. There's nothing else to do after revising. And so by that point, copying and pasting over shouldn't be a big deal. The final copy is due at 11:59 p.m. on Friday the 10th. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down and take a look at our rubric. So rubrics essentially are there to show you how you get points and not just like some arbitrary, yeah, you get an A or a B. you're going to total up points to see how you did in each category, to see where those points are actually coming from. So in the beginning, this is all of our introduction stuff. Opening grabs the reader's attention, introduces your precise claims, and states your reasons for your claims. Ideas are arranged logically. You provide source information and context for your evidence. Provide substantial and meaningful evidence in the forms of citations, if possible. Insightful and interesting analysis. Convincingly refute the counterclaim. That means prove it wrong. Using persuasive and academic language, varieties of transitional words and phrases, a conclusion that includes a call to action, standard English spelling and punctuation, and a variety of sentences. So all of that together, you guys are going to have a score of a 1 to 5. So 5 is exceeding the standard, all the way down to 1 means like it's missing. You don't even have it there. And I actually have seen that before, where kids are copying and pasting and they forget to include something like their conclusion paragraph. So then they get a 1 in the conclusion paragraph because they didn't include it there. All of that, when you add all these points up, if you give yourself a 5 in all of these categories, then you're going to get 60 out of 60. As soon as you start shaving points off up here, and maybe you give yourself a 4 or a 3, then you're going to see your score go down a little bit. I should actually add this here now while I'm thinking about it. Argument planner is going to be 20 points. So that actually bumps your score here to 170. So let's talk about points for a second here. So these are all the points that are going to be going into the gradebook over the next 2 weeks. So you guys have 170 points that are going to be going in total. All of these points for the first 4 categories here, your argument planner, your outlines, draft 1 and draft 2. Honestly, you guys, these should be just easy. Is it done or not done? If it's done, you get the points. If it's not done, you don't get the points. It doesn't have to be perfect, might not even be for the outlines and the argument planner. These might not even be complete sentences, and that's okay because it's appropriate at that stage of writing. If you have a bunch of spelling and punctuation errors in draft 1, that's okay because it's appropriate at that stage of writing. It's not until we get into the final copy that your score is actually going to be scored based on how well you write. But the point is that by doing all of these first 4 things, theoretically, by the time we're done, your writing should be getting better and better and better. Okay? So it's 170 points going in, and of that, 110 of them should just be 110 out of 110, as long as you're doing your job. Now, if you're asking yourself, like, well, how do I know if my opening grabs the reader's attention or I provide enough background information? How am I supposed to know what number to give myself in each of these categories? There's an extended scoring rubric below, and we're actually going to read this together as a class after you guys are done with this video. You guys are going to go through it and see, okay, what counts as a 5, what counts as a 4, what counts as a 3. You're going to notice that there's no column for 1, and that's because it's missing. So literally that box would just say missing or not there. So I'm not going to bother to include that. Okay. Moving over here, this is your argument outline. Now I know some of you might be seeing, oh, it says 11 pages. That looks very daunting. First of all, this is your entire essay that's basically going to be here. And by filling in this outline, by the time we get to draft, this is honestly the bulk of the work of this project is in this outline. Once this is done, you guys are going to basically be copying and pasting. So, and we're only going to do 1 paragraph a day. So don't feel like it's super like you have to do this whole thing. No. You're going to do 1 paragraph on one day, another paragraph on another day, and you're just going to keep moving on and plugging and chugging. And I'm going to make sure that each step of the way, you know exactly what you're doing, and I'll be there to help what you are with what you're putting. Like you're going to see like videos here that are going to help you know what to do next. Okay. So this is what the outline looks like, and it's going to go all the way down. There's body 1, body 2. Here's your counterclaim. You're going to see it looks a little bit different. And then your conclusion paragraph down here. Okay. I think that's pretty much it for our introduction here, but these calendar due dates are there for you guys so that you guys know what's due when. Should the districts rebel against the Capitol? Is it a justifiable thing to do? Is the question that you're going to be answering. And that's pretty much it. Any questions? Let me know.